is Houck from Cooking by Moonlight, and today I'm going to show you how to make key lime mousse. The key lime mousse I'm making today is actually a frozen mousse. It's really delicious. It'd almost be like if somebody took a key lime pie and ice cream and mixed them together. It's absolutely fantastic. To start, I'm going to put in 1 1/4 cups of lime juice. This is a pretty medium-sized saucepan, and I have it over medium-low heat right now. And now I'm going to add 1 stick of butter until they come to a boil. And while that heats up, I'm going to zest 2 limes and put that right in as well. And when you're zesting limes, you want to be sure just to get that green part. If you start to get down to where you see that it's white, like right there, if you've gone too far, that part is actually quite bitter. And if you add that in, it's not going to have a really good flavor. You want to stay right at the top where it's green. You're trying to get those oils out of the lime, and it really adds a delicious flavor. I think that's about all the lime zest I need. Again, that was 2 limes, and I'm just going to let this heat up. While that sits, I've got a bowl of sugar. This is 1.5 cups of sugar, and to that, I'm going to add 4 eggs. This is going to help make your key lime curd. That's basically what we're making here, is a key lime curd, and we're going to fold it into whipped cream and freeze it to make our final dessert. All right, get that last egg in there. And you want to whisk all of this together. You want to whisk it really well. You actually want it to turn a really pale yellow. That's how you know the sugar and the eggs are all mixed together completely. It's really important to do that before we start tempering these eggs. We're going to add the hot boiling lime juice and butter to this to bring it up to room temperature, and then just a little bit warmer before we dump it in. If you don't do that, you end up with scrambled eggs in the bottom, which just does not make for a delicious lime curd. So you have to be really careful. You want this pale yellow color that you see here. That means it's all been mixed together properly. It should take a few minutes. In fact, you might want to do this in a stand mixer or with one of those fancy electric hand mixers, because my arm is tired. All right, once your lime juice and butter comes to a boil, you're going to add 1 packet of unflavored gelatin to the mix. This helps it all set up nice and keeps it nice when it freezes. So you're just going to dump that in and dissolve it in there. It might be easier for you to take the gelatin and dissolve it in about 1/4 cup of really cold water and pour that mixture into the boiling water first instead of dump it right in. If you dump it right in, it can clump up and you really have to stir. So unless you're used to that, you might want to bloom the gelatin. That's what it's called when you put it in the cold water first, and then dump it in here. You're going to bring that back up to a boil, and then I'm going to turn the heat down to low. And we have our egg mixture over here, our egg and sugar mixture. And I'm going to temper the eggs. So again, like I said before, if you just dumped these eggs right into there, you'd end up with scrambled eggs, and that would taste terrible. So what I'm going to do is pour a little of this into a measuring cup. It's just easier for me to temper that way since I don't have a friend to help pour. So I'm going to take this, and you're going to very slowly drizzle this mixture in there while whisking like mad. So just a little bit at a time and mix that in really well. And then keep going. You know that you're all tempered when the sides of the bowl feel warm. Here they're still very cold, so I've got a while to go. Just going to keep slowly pouring that in. And if you run out of the hot mixture in there, you can go back and get some more. You just want to get those edges of your bowls to be warm. That's not quite ready yet. I'm going to pour it directly from the pan and be a little brave. You just don't want to dump a bunch in at once. Once it's tempered, you can go ahead and pour this into the remaining juice, if you have any in there, and bring it back over the heat. So you know it's starting to get there when you see these really large bubbles. You see like volcano bubbles popping up in the lava. That means you're just about ready. The way you can tell you're done is to dip your spoon in. You see how thick that is? Quickly rub your finger along. It will be hot, be careful. And you can see how you make that nice long line in there. When it doesn't run down through it, that means your curd is ready. Take this off the heat because it's ready and set it aside until it cools. And then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for about 4 hours until it's very chilled. Before we can do the next step, which is folding it into the whipped cream, we want it to be completely cold or else it'll melt our whipped cream. While your key lime curd is cooling in the fridge, it's time to mix up the whipped cream. So this is an 8-ounce container of heavy whipping cream. And I'm gonna put it in my stand mixer and turn the mixer on until it turns into whipped cream. This should take about 6 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, but you want kind of a nice, fluffy, think what you would get on top of like an ice cream sundae. So what you wanna look for are these nice, stiff peaks like that, where it stands upright. If you let it go any longer, you'd actually turn it into butter. That's how they made it in the olden days. Well, not with a stand mixer, of course, but if you let cream churn long enough, you actually just end up with butter. So a little bit of salt and maybe 5 more minutes, and you could have yourself some nice toast. Now we're gonna take the whipped cream we've made and add it slowly into this lime curd. We're gonna mix the first one in just to get everything a little bit loosened up, and then we're gonna fold the last bits in. This is what gives it that really nice, fluffy texture. It really is gonna be somewhere in between ice cream and key lime pie. It'll be delicious. After you have that first bit incorporated, it's gonna be a lot easier. So you'll do it one more time. Just mix it in as much as you can. The closer it gets to that whipped cream texture, the easier it'll be to fold it all in. Again, you don't wanna mix too much. Just a nice little folding motion is really all you need. You have to be patient here. After everything has all been mixed in, it gets this really fluffy, smooth texture. And now we're just gonna pour it into a souffle dish and put it in the freezer for about 4 hours. It's probably best to leave it overnight if you have the time. I'm gonna use this big souffle dish here, dump it all in and freeze it, again, for about 4 hours at least. After your key lime mousse has had time to set up in the freezer, you can pull it out and it's ready to serve. You can either take some garnish and put it right on top, just like that, and serve it out, or you can put it into little individual serving dishes and take it to your guests that way. It's pretty easy to scoop. You don't even need an ice cream scoop. Just a spoon will do. Again, it's got that very light, moussey texture. If you don't want to use that, you can just garnish it with some little lime twists. These are pretty easy to make by just cutting off a little bit of that lime rind and twirling it in your fingers. And they'll stay for just a minute or two, just long enough for it to be served. There you go. I'm Liz Houck from Cooking by Moonlight, and this has been How to Make Key Lime Mousse.